Hold on to your seats, Cowboys Nation, because things are heating up in Dallas, and the tension is reaching a boiling point. This is Ethan Carter, and today we're diving headfirst into one of the most dramatic and nail-biting preseason stretches we've seen in years. That recent loss to the Ravens wasn't just rough, it was the kind of game that lingers with fans long after the final whistle. The scoreline told a painful story, 31-13, and a T&T stadium emptied out with heads hung low. But as always with this team, it wasn't just about the scoreboard. Hidden within the chaos, four major storylines have ignited across the silver and blue community. A veteran defender who might just have been reborn. A backup quarterback leaving everyone anxious. A bombshell trade rumor that could shake the very identity of this franchise. And, just to balance the storm, a rookie debut so promising it felt like the start of something special. Let's rewind and talk about what actually went down in that game, because as much as the Ravens dominated, there were flashes of hope buried in the rubble. The night belonged, surprisingly, to Andrew Booth. A veteran fighting tooth and nail for a roster spot, Booth pulled off a moment that had the entire stadium on its feet. Early in the game, with the crowd restless and unsure, Booth read the play perfectly and intercepted none other than former Cowboy Cooper Rush. Not only that, he returned it all the way for a pick six. For one shining moment, it felt like a playoff atmosphere. The stadium roared like it hadn't in months. And the look in Booth's eyes said it all. This wasn't just a lucky play. This was survival. Booth admitted afterward that he'll watch that interception 1,000 times, and you could tell he meant it. It was raw emotion. It was proof that he knows just how fragile his chance is, and how badly he wants to seize it. Last year was tough for him. He looked like a player on the edge of fading into obscurity. But on this night, he reminded us why veterans can never be written off too early. For a defense that struggled with depth in the secondary, Booth's energy was more than a highlight, it was a lifeline. His positioning was sharp, his intensity contagious, and his trash talk even got under the skin of receivers. That's the kind of edge Dallas needs if they want to keep the Silver Wall reputation alive this season. And the fans noticed. Social media, forums, and group chats blew up immediately. People weren't just celebrating the play, they were asking if Booth might actually carve out a permanent role. My exclusive take? If he can keep that fire alive, Booth won't just make the roster, he could become the kind of reliable rotational player who shines when the season gets gritty. It was only one preseason game, yes. But sometimes you can feel when a player crosses a mental threshold. And Booth did exactly that. But let's not get too comfortable, because if that storyline gave fans hope, the next one ripped it away. The quarterback situation. And folks, it's messy. The buzz around Joe Milton when he arrived was electric. A big, strong kid with a rocket for an arm, a project who could develop quietly behind Dak Prescott. Fans dreamed of a safety net. But what we've seen this preseason has left the fan base restless and more than a little worried. Milton throws footballs like missiles. Every pass feels like it's shot out of a cannon, whether it's a 50-yard bomb or a 5-yard checkdown. Wide-open receivers are watching the ball bounce off their hands, not because they can't catch, but because nobody can catch a bullet at close range. Against the Ravens, it got worse. Milton took a brutal safety because he failed to recognize a free rusher. And while young quarterbacks are supposed to grow through preseason reps, the concern is mounting fast. Some fans argue he settles down later in games, but by then, the damage is already done. This isn't just about stats, it's about trust. A backup quarterback isn't supposed to make fans nervous every snap. He's supposed to give them comfort stability. Right now, Milton is doing the opposite. Offensive coordinator Brian Schottenheimer tried to calm the storm, saying Milton needs to stack good plays and trust the process. But patience is in short supply in Cowboys Nation. Memories of Will Grier still haunt this fan base, and a lot of people are already whispering that Grier would have been the safer bet for Q2. My take? If Milton doesn't show dramatic improvement in the next outing, the coaching staff's faith could crack. And if it does, what was once considered a future investment suddenly becomes a dangerous liability. Now, if that wasn't enough to stir the pot, let's talk about the rumor that shook the fanbase this week. It's not just about Milton. It's not even just about Doc. It's about a name that carries weight across the league: Kirk Cousins. Word has started spreading that Dallas might be quietly eyeing the veteran quarterback, who now finds himself buried behind Michael Penix Jr. in Atlanta. And while on the surface, this sounds like just another offseason whisper, the pieces fit together too well to ignore. Cousins isn't happy with his situation. The Falcons seem ready to move on, and Dallas is in a very delicate spot. Dak Prescott, coming off tendon surgery, missed 9 games last season. Before the injury, his play already had fans questioning if he was still the man to carry this franchise. Add in Milton's struggles, and suddenly, the idea of trading for Cousins doesn't sound so crazy. He's 37, sure, but he's proven, steady, and more than capable of running an offense. My exclusive take? If the Cowboys front office believes Doc isn't the long-term answer, Cousins would be less of a gamble and more of a safety net. He wouldn't be the future. He'd be the bridge. But make no mistake, a move like this would divide the fan base right down the middle. Half would call it smart insurance. Half would see it as a betrayal of Doc. And that kind of decision changes everything: the locker room, the season's momentum, and the identity of this team. But thankfully, in the middle of all that tension, something finally gave fans a reason to smile. A rookie stepped into the fire and showed why he might be the key to building this offense back up. Tyler Booker. His debut on the offensive line was nothing short of promising. While the offense as a whole sputtered and the defense scrambled to keep up, Booker brought stability. He looked calm, disciplined, and powerful. He opened lanes. He protected his quarterback. And he carried himself with the quiet confidence of a player who belongs here. After the game, Booker admitted he's still adjusting to NFL life: the routines, the preparation, the speed of everything. But even in that honesty, you could see the maturity. The fans picked up on it immediately. Twitter threads and fan forums lit up with praise, calling him the anchor this line has been missing. And here's why this matters so much. Without protection, this offense cannot function. Doc can't thrive. The run game can't develop. The receivers can't work downfield. One rookie making an impact in the trenches is enough to shift the energy of an entire fan base. My exclusive opinion? If Tyler Booker continues to grow and locks in as a starter, he could transform this offensive line into the true wall Dallas has been desperate for. He's got Texas toughness written all over him, and fans are already dreaming about what that means for the future. So here we are, Cowboys Nation, at a crossroads. On one side, you've got a veteran proving he still belongs. On another, you've got a quarterback crisis that could derail everything. Hovering above it all is a potential trade bombshell that could reshape the entire franchise. And cutting through the storm is a rookie with enough promise to reignite hope. The question is simple, but the answer is everything. Can this team turn pressure into glory, or will the weight of expectations crush them before the season even begins? Drop your thoughts below, because you know this is the home of the Silver and Blue Nation, and trust me, the ride has only just begun.